I'm sorry, Mute. Why did you kill all those people? Fuck, I don't want to ask this. Shit! Look, there's something you need to understand first. After waking up from stasis, I only ever had one single friend. Oh, is she not denying this? Oh, two. Wait. Did I ask her the same question before? I think I hit the wrong thing. Huh? That was the same stuff as before. Did I not select the right thing? Why did you kill all those people? I want to ask that. I have a feeling I have to go through all the things first before I can ask that question. You know, lately, I felt like everything's been moving so quickly. So much more quickly than the usual dragging boredom. Not being all alone. Whether time is slow or fast depends on perception. Relativity theory is so romantic and so sad. Or at least I remember hearing something like that. But it looks like my theory that you're interested in cosplay was right. What? So what do you think of this outfit? Scientifically speaking, of course. You're scientifically adorable? You're making a scientific fool of yourself. I'm trying to be nice. I would never say this to someone. Well, actually, no, that's true. I would say this to someone who's like a friend, but like a close friend, like someone you joke around with, and it's like, hey, I just want to let you know that you suck, and they'd be like, yeah, and give you a thumbs up, and then they'd be like, you suck, and then I'd say, no, you suck, and then they'd say, your mom sucks, and I'd be sad because that's a mom joke, and mom jokes aren't cool. But I don't think I'm on that level of friendship, so. But that's kind of creepy too. You're scientifically adorable. Whatever, I'll be creepy. Oh, you think so? Thank you. That's some very useful data. Is it? This costume, actually, it means a lot to me personally. Does it? See, my father, my real father, was the ship's engineer. I always wanted to be just like him when I grew up. Of course, that was never able to happen. But, well, I guess a computer program is as close to being a real computer scientist as I will ever get. So this one means a lot to me. Oh, I'm glad I picked out the one that means a lot. Do you think that sort of thing is fine? For a girl to follow her father's footsteps? Of course, it's admirable. Why would a girl do that? No, it's admirable. Oh, I'm glad you think so. Well, anyway, I suppose we should get back to work now. Scientifically speaking, I'd be happy to help test some more theories with you. Sure? The hell does that mean? Okay. Access log documents. Block 6. Alright. Just us wives. Okay. Dear Diary, I guess it's been forever since I cared enough to write anything down. I just haven't seen much point. Since my last entry I got married, moved into the palace, and lost my virginity. Apparently for a girl my age, none of these things are really all that weird. The queen finally insisted on talking to me the night after I first slept with dearest husband. I had been expecting it. My sister warned me that she would probably be jealous and I just have to endure it. She outranks me, and I would simply have to that word again. Kowtow to her if need be. I haven't had tea yet though. We had tea together and she at least has started by acting friendly. I'm sure sister was right. I'll get the brunt of her anger soon enough, but today she was friendly. How are you holding up? She asked me after we finished with tea. I shrugged. Do trust me, I know how hard it can be for a newlywed. I've been through it myself, but I was at least older. You probably miss your family, do you not? That's what would be expected from any girl. So I nodded. It gets easier with time. I had no response. I'm sorry, am I bothering you? You can leave if you wish. I simply thought you might like some company. I wasn't sure how to respond to that. Either I just clasped my hands and shook my head. I just wanted to be sure, she said. There was a long pause that followed. Finally, she asked, how was last night? It surprised me that she was willing to bring up the subject, figuring that it was a segue into her being vindictive. Or is it segue? Is that what that word is? Did I say segue? And that's a segue? That's a weird word. Okay. I think that's how you spell segue. That's weird. Towards me. For sleeping with her husband, I shrugged as she continued. I just know he can be rough. Nobody ever talked about those duties with me. Then she smiled and felt almost like I could drop my guard. I had no idea what to expect my first time. Do believe me, I'm not jealous. That is nothing to be jealous of. But do tell me how it was. It made me think back on last night. Honestly, it was the best night I've ever had since waking up in the future. Everyone, my mother, my sister, and now my queen warned me that it would be bad. It would be a duty and nothing more. But I honestly did love it. I would have let him keep me up all night if he had the energy for it. I guess while I was thinking about all that, I let out a slight smile, caught myself, but not before she noticed. Oh, did you enjoy it then? She asked, touching my arm. I jumped. Please, please, be at ease. This is perfectly alright too. So long as you know it's just for him. There's absolutely no shame in that. There is none. I expected her to jump into something passive-aggressive from that, but she didn't. All she did was change the subject, and said that she really was worried about me. Maybe she isn't so bad. That's a lot of information. What do you have to say about that? I'm reading your diary. Are you embarrassed? Are you embarrassed? You shouldn't be embarrassed. Don't be embarrassed. It's okay. So you can say she was kind. She was good to me. She really was. I take it you want to know more about my marriage then. What are you interested in? Jaehwa? Or your husband? Jaehwa is her friend, right? And the husband is obviously her husband. I'll want to know about your friend, I suppose. Then you're in luck. She's in all of these entries. Well, she was really the only thing in my life worth writing about, for the most part. There's one in that there that, wait, what? One in that there that, what is that? There's one in that there that she wrote herself about her husband, and you can see for yourself, she's a lot stronger than I ever was. So you can see for yourself why I admired her. And, well, just read them, alright? I'll do that. Little sister. Okay. Dear Diary. Attending to my husband has been easier than I was afraid it would be. Yes, there's days when it requires more strength than usual to keep going. I'm still getting increasingly more sick. Nothing will change that. But it's not so bad, really. All I have to do is dote on him and try to anticipate his desires, and he's happy with me. No abuse or anything. Sure, it's not as if I like him. He's an ugly 40-year-old man who cares only about politics and never tells me anything. Love. Well, that's certainly no concern. I don't know where I ever got the impression that was something that could happen in a marriage. I thought it was something from the past, but, well, I was young before I got put into stasis. It must have been a mistake of childhood. But so long as I do as I'm told, I'm not mistreated, like I was by my sister, and sleeping with him feels good. I really hope I don't get pregnant soon. I don't want that to stop. Doing that is really the only thing that makes me actually happy these days. Well, that and Jaehwa's talks with me. She's nice. She keeps me company when I stay up to wait for his return. She fetches servants to take me to bed on those days I'm too feverish to sit for too long, and she just talks to me, as if I'm a friend. I don't really understand why, I guess she really doesn't hate me after all. Do let me tell you, she said one evening while she brushed my hair. I always wanted a little sister growing up. That's how I think of you. Does that make sense? I shrugged. It was nice of her, and it felt so relaxing to let her touch my hair like that. She wasn't waiting for a response anyway. By now, she knows better. She just keeps talking kindly to me. That's good. She had a friend. Illiterate. The more she lives in my house, the more I am confused by the mystery that is the Pale Bride. No wonder why my husband has been favoring the Kim family lately. Their daughter seems to be the perfect woman. She's not simply a pale beauty, she's always too shy to speak at all, let alone argue. Seems to hang off his every word, and it turns out is actually so completely humble in her education that she cannot even read. Or rather, she cannot read normal characters. I've observed her writing to herself, and perhaps what may be a diary. When I asked what it was, she wouldn't say, but was quick to hide it. I could not recognize a single character on her screen, however. They seemed simplified compared to regular writing. Perhaps she has invented a writing system just for herself. It is very strange. Did you ever receive those letters I sent to your house before you arrived? I asked her. Curious, seemingly she had. Did you read them? Her response was worried, as if she was scared that I would be angry to find out that she hadn't. I was not, of course. I'm sorry. I had assumed. Are you able to read? That was when I found out that she wasn't. I offered to read them to her, to which she seemed quite enthusiastic. I think I am likely to leave out some parts, however. I had enough difficulty bringing myself to writing the more embarrassing parts of the family history, bringing myself to talk about them, even if I know she would never say anything. It's just far too much. Like all things with her, I cannot tell whether her enthusiasm is sincere or an effort to make me happy. This troubles me. Of course I wasn't illiterate. I could read just fine, just not these stupid Chinese-based characters. I mean, I can understand them now. Everything except for my diary entries is translated from them. It's such a dumb way of writing, though. It makes everything come out so stilted compared to proper Korean. Well, anyway, you're showing me that because you're interested in admonitions, right? Yeah? Then here, I'll just give you the letters she sent. They give all the details, even the ones she was too embarrassed to tell me about at the time. You can probably guess which parts she cut out. It's pretty obvious. It's the incest thing that she never told me about at the time. What? I don't want to read incest. Why'd I click yes? Having read about it now, I don't really blame her. Well, here, you can see what I mean for yourself. I don't want to read the incest. I don't want to do it. But I will. A Muteness. Dear Diary, I've been thinking a lot about how close my death must be now. Lately, I've been getting prone to fainting spells. It probably goes right along with my diminishing appetite. If the doctor from the past was right, I still got over a year left to live. Maybe more. He said it wasn't very likely to get bad enough to kill me until I was at least 18. Although, maybe all those years in stasis might have changed that. I don't know. But if he was right, and if I haven't lost track of time, I'm 16 and a half right now, so there's still a while. I've been trying to hide the signs of sickness. Even if I could explain, I know full well that nobody would believe me. So far hiding it has been mostly working, although I did have one of my fainting spells while my husband was on top of me. He wasn't angry at me though. I don't think he cared. I know all I write about these days is sex with my husband and conversations with his wife. The Kim family would be proud, I guess. But those two things are all that's really worthwhile in my life. I have other responsibilities, of course. They're just not that interesting, and that's about it. Oh, shit. Oh, anyway, the Queen has continued to be nice to me. She finally figured it out. We were having tea together one afternoon, and she was talking about nothing in particular, and she asked me a question that I just shrugged to. I hope you do not take this the wrong way, she then said, but there is something I would like to ask you. I nodded. I don't think I've ever heard your voice before. I nodded again. Why don't you ever speak to me? Are you just saving that for the Emperor? I didn't know how to respond. She was so close to getting it. To bringing up the subject I wasn't able to. Yet that wasn't the right question. So I shook my head and hoped that her question would be... It was. Then, hyun-ae, she said uncertainly. Are you mute? I felt like screaming yes at the top of my lungs. I was so happy that she'd finally figured it out. I smiled and was about to nod enthusiastically, but suddenly I stopped. What if she thought less of me if I said I was? If she knew that the reason I was so quiet and demure wasn't because of any sort of discipline? Those were the things people liked about me. Would she stop liking me if she knew? What if she told my husband? So wait, is she lying right now, or was she actually mute? She's writing this in her thing. Wasn't she asking questions to her family before all this stuff? Did she become mute over time? Because of her sickness she got all mute? Like? Maybe. Maybe it's the sickness. It's probably the sickness. I was so terrified, I couldn't think of any correct answer. If I said no, I'm sure she would ask to hear what my voice sounded like, and I'd be forced to disobey. And if I nodded, then she'd know I wasn't really just trying hard to be a good wife, and I'm sure she would talk to my husband about it, if she'd know. But while I stared at her in terror, thinking of how to respond, she sighed and sipped her tea. Don't worry about it, she said. You do not have to answer. Please, do forget that I even asked. Were you mute? You know, nobody ever noticed that until her. Oh, I guess she was. Nobody cared. Nobody ever thought any of it. Or cared enough about me to find out. But she did care. She actually paid attention. She was great. Arguing the Emperor. My concern over the pale bride's condition has grown. Lately she has seemed to grow even quieter, if such a thing is possible for a mute girl. Well, perhaps saying she is mute is an assumption too far on my part. I tried asking her directly, but she seemed too scared to answer. That simply makes me more suspicious, and I should like to know why. I addressed my husband on the matter, telling him that I wished to speak to the woman of the Kim family house to see if I could find out what is wrong. He shrugged me off, saying, "Don't. They're valuable subjects. The son is someone I have my eye on in particular. The politics of the situation are far too delicate for you to be meddling with." I cleared my throat. He might be both my husband and emperor, but I would not let that stop me from being bold. "My dear husband, I don't care," I said flatly. "I am worried about the girl, and I believe that talking to her mother might shed some light on the matter. The son is of no concern to me. I don't see why it matters. She's the perfect woman." "Why, are you jealous?" he said, rolling his eyes at me, a gesture that he's only been able to use on me and his servants ever since becoming emperor. Nobody had the patience for it when he was a child, and I don't have it now either. "Inho, dearest, do you believe that the well-being of your wife is a political matter? Or even an external matter?" I asked. He didn't. "So, would you say it's a domestic matter?" I asked. He reluctantly agreed. "Then as a domestic matter, it is the responsibility of the woman of the house, it is not? Please, tell me. You are, obviously, more well-read in the classics than I said, both of us knowing he wasn't. "Fine," he said. "But just because it is your responsibility does not mean I can't overrule you." He left silently. The follow-up. I don't have to take this from you." "You do know that my concerns are valid, though," I replied. "If you value my opinion, you will let me speak to the Kim mother." There was a pause. Then he raised his hand in annoyance. "Very well, do it. It's women's business. I don't want a part of it. regardless. Then he just shook his head. Why must all our conversations be arguments? I smiled to him and left. He already knows the answer. I never knew about that when we were alive. Like most things, I only found out after I took over the ship's computer. It just amazes me even more. Look at her. She's a woman who actually stood up to a man and won. She wasn't clumsy like I was. She knew how to work it from her position. Isn't that so amazing? She really admires this woman. And that's good. That's good. Why did she have to die? Uh-oh. What? Dear Diary, you always forget how terrible it is to cry yourself to sleep until it happens. It's just the ultimate feeling of helplessness. But what's new here? What's new there, right? I just miss her. Even if she scared me, I miss her so damn much. Jae-hwa was the only one who was sympathetic towards me. Why did she have to die? Is that my fate? Anything that makes whatever short life I have left bearable must go? Fate just hates me, I've decided. I don't know what killed her. I overheard one of the servants saying that the doctor claimed it was too much worry, causing an excess of wood in the spleen, which he claimed to be common in oversensitive women. I was baffled by the absurdity at the time. I still am now. My only friend is dead, and her diagnosis is absolutely insane. What do you even say to something like that? Well, I guess it's not like I need to worry about knowing what to say. But in light of that, it doesn't surprise me that nobody ever believed I was sick. With medicine that stupid. Why would they? All it does is reinforce how hopeless everything is. I just constantly wonder, why did my father or my own doctor think that people would be smarter in the future? That medicine would be better? My servant has been helping me get through all the funeral stuff. Well, I mean, she's been guiding me through the rites, practically doing them for me, really. I am so weak and so stunned. I don't even know how I've been getting out of bed. I couldn't describe any of the ceremony. It's all a blur. There's been lots of black dresses. Wait, there's been lots of black dress, I suppose. That's my only impression. And crying. Lots of crying. From me. Oh, she died. By having too much wood in the spleen? I've never heard of that. Are we talking about like she was growing a tree in her stomach or something? Because that's weird. This is why people are scared of eating seeds. I don't really have anything to add to that. She didn't deserve to die. Jeez. Excess of wood. What's that even supposed to mean? My question exactly. What the hell does that mean? Just fuck them and have babies. And then get the fuck out of there. Don't talk to anybody.